What's up, everybody? I am so excited and glad that you are here tonight. Listen, I know that it's been a crazy month or past 2 months being locked in our houses, not going to school, not being able to be here at church, but I'm so glad that you decided to join us tonight. Tonight, just like we have for the last several weeks, we're talking about wisdom and what it looks like to live godly wisdom. Thank you for being here. Let's jump into it. All right, so you guys know that we're in the middle of our series Now and Later. And this series is all about wisdom, and not just my wisdom, which I'm thankful for, but God's wisdom and how we as Christians have to lean on the wisdom of God. There's a website out there called thetop10s.com. And this website basically just gives a bunch of top 10 lists of people's favorite things or least favorite things. And I think they do it on voting. I'm not really sure. But they recently did a list about people's top 10 pet peeves. Top 10 pet peeves. Now, for me, I would probably have a hard time narrowing it down to 10. I have a lot of them. But here were some of people's top 10 pet peeves. Number 10 was screaming children who were having temper tantrums. That's my house all day, every day right now. So I understand that. Number 7 was when someone else copies you. When someone else copies you. In school, that really wasn't an issue for me because nobody was copying off of my paper. Number 3 was about people who had bad driving etiquette. Now this one, I totally get. And then number 1 was when people chew with their mouth open. And I get that one too. That drives me crazy. But here's what I found interesting. Most of the things on this list, and in fact, all of the things on this list, have to do with things that other people do. You notice what's not on the list? When I oversleep, or when I talk bad about one of my friends, or when I chew with my mouth open. This list, we don't list out the things that we do wrong. Everything is about someone else. And if you and I had enough time to think about it and we made our own list, we probably wouldn't list a lot of things about us, but it would all be things that someone else does wrong. You see, the bottom line is that whether it's chewing or driving or copying, we don't like it when other people do stuff that we don't want them to do. You know, whenever someone hurts me, I get so focused on me, on how I feel, on how I've been hurt, on how I've been wronged, or my side of the story. And that's exactly what we all do. Whether you're a middle schooler, a freshman, a senior, or even a volunteer, an adult leader, we all, when we get hurt, we have a tendency to just focus on ourselves, to kind of get in our own headspace and to stew on the way that we've been hurt or the way that we view we've been wronged. And for those of you that have done that, if you look back and think about it, we realize that when we just stew on the things that make us mad, when we get so focused and caught up on the things that bother us, that path never leads to us feeling better. Getting held up on the things that have hurt us or the people that have hurt us, that never leads to us getting better. You know, through this series, Now and Later, we've been looking at the book of Proverbs, and we've been looking at God's wisdom and the wisdom that He wants to impart into our lives so that we can live the lives that He's called us to. And thankfully, God has some things to say about what we should do when people hurt us. So let's take a look at that right now. So all of the wisdom and good advice that we've been talking about has been coming from the book of Proverbs. And this book was mostly written by the King Solomon, who history agrees was considered to be the wisest man in the world. So let's look at Proverbs 19, verse 11. Proverbs 19, verse 11. And I find this verse really interesting when thinking about how we deal with people who have hurt or disappointed us. It says, a person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense. And I can already tell that this is going to be a hard one for me to live by, but let's read it again. It says, a person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense. You see, this verse is saying that a person's wisdom, being wise, leads to being patient. Now, I'll be honest, with our generation, mine and yours, patience is kind of an interesting subject. We don't have to be as patient as we used to. We consider patient to be waiting 2 days for our package to get here from Amazon Prime, or waiting 20 minutes for a chicken sandwich at Popeyes, not Chick-fil-A, because it would be here a lot quicker. But for us, patience is just kind of a weird thing because we don't have to wait very often. But typically, when we think about being patient, we talk about being patient for something or with something or something that's going on. But this verse isn't really talking about that. You see, patience isn't just about waiting on something, but sometimes patience can be waiting with someone. See, a lot of times when we're thinking about being patient, and when we talk about the conflict that we have with other people, what we have to realize is that sometimes the wise thing to do when we're dealing with conflict or when someone's hurt us is to be patient. So in this case, patience is about developing the skill of slowing down before responding when somebody hurts us. And let me explain that. For me, when somebody hurts me or says something that frustrates me or does something that gets on my nerves, my gut reaction is to immediately respond. It's to immediately fire back with something that hurts them, or it's to immediately write them off in my mind and have nothing to do with them anymore. But you see, Proverbs teaches us that a wise person is a patient person. So rather than just flying off the handle, rather than just immediately going after that person, I take a pause. We take a breath. We stop and think, because wise people are patient people. And specifically, what we do and what God calls us to do is to pause and think about the other person. You see, it's so easy for us when we're hurt or when we're frustrated to get caught up in ourselves, to get caught up in our own feelings and our story and what bothers us. But what we don't do very often is we don't pause and think about the other person. And what Proverbs teaches us is that a wise person stops and thinks about what's going on with the person that hurt us. Why did they say that hurtful thing? Why are they being so impatient? Because remember, we say this all the time, hurt people hurt people. So if they're saying something that's hurting me, it's probably because there's something else going on in their life that is hurting them, that is causing them pain. And you see, if I take a moment to slow down, if I take a moment to have some empathy and to think about the other person, then a lot of times what I figure out is that person is really just responding from a place of pain. A lot of times they don't even mean what they said, or they didn't even realize what they did that hurt me so deeply. A wise person is a patient person. So when we're patient, people see that. We look wise when we take time to be patient. When someone hurts us or when someone says something to us and other people are watching that, when they see us pause, that looks wise. But you see, the opposite is true. When someone hurts us and I fly off the handle, I don't look very wise. And remember, as Christians, it is our job to be ambassadors for Christ. It is our job to show everyone, to show the world what Jesus looks like. So when I fly off the handle because someone did something that really hurt me, then immediately my credibility as a Christ follower is gone. But when I take a moment and pause, when people see me not respond, when people see you not respond when someone hurts you, that's showing others what true wisdom looks like. It shows others what Jesus looks like, how Jesus would respond to conflict. A wise person is a patient person. So let's take a look at that verse from Proverbs one more time. It says, a person's wisdom yields patience. And we already focused on that part. But take a look at the second part of this verse. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense. So when you overlook an offense, two things are true. You look your best. Other people notice that you're being patient, that you're being mature, that you're not losing your chill. But you actually are at your best when you overlook an offense. You see, by not focusing on ourselves, by focusing on the other person and overlooking the thing that we think they did wrong, we're actually bringing more glory to ourselves and more glory to God. And all that means is that we are being the people that God called us to be. See, it starts with understanding the word story. Our goal as Christians is to seek to know other people's story and to understand even more of their story and what they're about and what they've been through and what they've experienced. See, here's the bottom line tonight. Patient people know that there's more to the story. Patient people know that there's more to the story. So this week, here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about the person who's probably already come to your mind tonight, but I want you to think about the person who really bothers you, the person who really gets on your nerves. You know, right now with the quarantine and us being stuck in our houses, we're spending a lot more time with our parents and our brothers and sisters and our husbands and wives and with our kids. We're spending way much more time close together than we normally do. And that may lead to some conflict. There may be some people in your family who are really getting on your nerves right now. So what I want to encourage you to do this week is to think about that person who bothers you and to think about their story. Think about what's going on in their life that might be causing them to act this way. What's going on in their life that may be causing them to say these hurtful things. Remember, hurt people hurt people. So rather than flying off the handle, rather than just immediately lashing back, take a pause and think about this week how you can minister to that person. Rather than getting back at them, how can you be a blessing to their life? This week, I want to encourage you to think about what it means to be wisely patient. To be wisely patient at home, to be wisely patient at school, in our relationships, at work. What does it look like for us at HSM to be wisely patient with everyone we meet and everywhere we have an interaction? Guys, I know that God is and will do amazing things through your lives. And I pray that through being wisely patient, you will be able to bless the people around you this week. Hey, I want to remind you that this Sunday night at 7:30, we're going to be having HSM Live on Zoom. And this week's extra special because we are launching our Connect Group ministry. Sometime this week, if you haven't already, you are going to get a text message from your Connect Group leader inviting you to join us on Sunday night. Guys, I am so pumped about this ministry and I'm excited to get it started. I've been waiting for this all year. You are not going to want to miss it. So see you Sunday night at 7:30 on HSM Live. See you there.